All right, so hi there. I'm recording this class so that you can watch it. I'm also going to tell you right what you need to complete because remember that we write examples in every class. So I know you asked for permission, so that's why I'm explaining this at the beginning. I'm going to explain this part of the class. Actually, this lesson is going to be the last one for this unit. It means that I'm going to finish with body paragraphs and with the conclusion. And in other words, the structure is going to be explained today. All right, we started with the introduction plus the first part of the body paragraph, but today we finish with body paragraph because you need a total of 2 in your final essay, and we also finish with the conclusion. All right. After this, of course, what you need to do in advance, I'm going to tell you what you need to have in this document. Remember, this is what we were doing. You should have the first step for the introduction, the second step for the introduction as well, and the third one, right? You know that it's the topic and the hook, the background, and the thesis. Now we were starting with the step number 1, that is this one, right? The topic sentence. We have 5 steps over here, so actually I'm going to add them now. You need to have those steps. Remember, you have to use different colors. The let's say here I have the period. Okay, here this is only the introduction, right? Your introduction, sorry, should be like this. 3 different colors for the 3 steps: the hook and the topic, the background information, plus the thesis statement, right? Now you're going to have a new paragraph, and in that paragraph you should have the body paragraph. Okay, so again, we're working step by step in class, but the result in this document, remember you have until tomorrow to do it in this way with colors and everything. It needs to be like this until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. And it's going to be about the entire structure. The introduction that you worked on with me in the previous week, and the body paragraph and conclusion that we're going to work on today. Okay, that's what we're going to check now. So let's do it. All right, I'm going to be explaining again step by step so that you can work on your side. So we know that the first step is the topic sentence. It means you are telling me what you are going to talk about. All right, period. That's it. And we already worked on that. It means if your topic is technology and your thesis statement is, as I'm doing right, the training that teachers and professors should have to use this technology properly and classes could be better, right? That's my topic sentence for the first body paragraph. So that's done. This is optional, okay? And let's write that now. Actually, I'm going to do this, okay? Let's see how it goes, like that. All right, good. So the first one, well, actually, we don't need a timer now. It's done, right? And here you have 2 options, right? First, to commence, to start with, once again, it's very important that you use these transitional words, that you use these connectors, because that's part of the evaluation, right? Plus the correct punctuation mark. So here the same, first, to commence, to start with, those are options. We have to mention the benefits that a trained professor can bring to an online class, or it is essential to recognize all the skills that have to be developed to enhance that experience for students in online classes. Okay, this is something I like better, but both of them are options to start your body part, right? So once again, just to make everything clear, you need a color. The color is just for this one, right? Either color, this is the one. Okay, good. So that's the color for the first part. Now, step 2, remember this is optional, right? And it says explain your topic sentence. All right, so again, this being optional, it's going to be explanation, right? And in parentheses is going to be optional. Why? Because sometimes the Give me a second. The sentence itself is self-explanatory. It means you don't need any further explanations. If that's the case, don't do it. All right, in my case, I'm going to do it just to exemplify that. And you can, instead of explain, you can use, remember the words that we learned, transitional words. You can use words related to clarification if you want. All right, so you can say, in other words, another way to say it, and so on, and to explain this in a better way. Okay, so you look for the best option in case you want to use this. Remember, the second step is optional. Okay, you don't have to do it. And remember that if you have reached the limit, right, because you have a number of words, if you have reached the limit and you have to delete something, this is what you can delete. In case you had it, you can delete it, right? So I'm going to say, in other words, comma, right? So it's essential to recognize the skills that have to be developed. In other words, right? How can I state this differently? Let me think of that option, right? Okay, we should be able to spot the, quality, okay? They are to have in order to prepare a better training session. Okay, so again, I'm just playing with the words, better training sessions. They want to change that, or in order to prepare, or not to prepare a better training session. I'm meaning the training session is not that you're going to be prepared for that, but you're preparing that for the teachers or the professors, right? So there you go. Again, remember, this is optional. You can clarify, you can explain your topic then. Again, what I want to do here is to spot those qualities so that when we know those qualities, we can propose them to train professors and teachers in a better way. And as a result, right, classes are going to be better. All right, that's the idea. So that's step number 2. Again, always try to look for another color so that you can first, it's going to be easier for you to identify. Okay, so it's going to be easier for you to identify by doing it. And you're going to help me also see very rapidly if you followed your steps or if you didn't. Okay, that's the purpose of using these colors. It's going to be great for you. I believe the best option, or the best actually results are going to be for you. To me, it's going to be just a rapid way to recognize that you again are following the steps. All right, but again, I have to read to see if you are in fact following them, or again, if it was perhaps something that you try to do, but you are not really following those steps. It's very important that you follow these ones, all right? It has to be in this order, and it has to be for the entire structure, right? To prepare, or here I'm going to try to use a different verb so that we don't have that correction over there. They are to have in order to organize, perhaps, okay, or it can also be organized or structure, that's there. Okay, or structure a better training session. Structure, I think, is the best option over there. Okay, good. So that's step number 2. Easy, right? It's optional. Explaining your sentence. If it requires further explanation, work with this. If not, go to the next one. And the next one is introduce your evidence. Okay, be careful here. You don't need to show your evidence yet. All right, don't show me your evidence. You are just going to say, hey, this is my evidence, and don't show the evidence yet. It's like the introduction. That's why here you have these options, okay, these verbs. Let me read this for you, all right, so that it is clear. So when including evidence, actually here you have to include evidence, all right, it's part of their requirements. Make sure it is integrated smoothly, right, into the text of the paper. Readers should be able to move from words or from your words, sorry, to your evidence without feeling a logical and mechanical jolt. It means it has to feel natural. Okay, don't just say, in other words, 10, a better training session, period, and your evidence, right? You need to introduce that by using the verbs that I'm going to show you. When introducing quotes, always identify the source. That's what you're going to do. I'm going to show you. And summarize the provide context. Okay, and that's something you're going to do afterwards. So many terms can be used to introduce quoted material, right? Remember, you have to use citations. You have to use quoted material. It means you're going to copy and paste words, but you're not going to copy and paste a long citation. It's going to be something, very, let's call it has to go straight to the point. It's going to be brief. It's going to be direct. All right. It shouldn't be more than 2, maximum 3 lines, but I would say 2 lines is going to be more than enough for this number of words. Believe me, it's going to be more than enough. If not, you're not going to have the opportunity, or you're not going to have even the chance to finish the essay following all the steps. Okay, remember, you have to follow all these steps. So some of the verbs can be, I don't know why they are like that, or if I did something I didn't realize. Okay, so these are verbs, right? And here also, I don't know. Oh, yes. Okay, perhaps I did that. All right. Good. So indicates, right? So this professional or the professional of this area, right? Perhaps I'm talking about technology and education, so it's a professional in that area. So indicates, asserts, believes, claims, commands, confirms, declares, defines, describes, explains, makes clear, proposes, right, etc. They are not the same, right? Because remember, beliefs is not the same as commands or asserts. That's obvious, right? It has a difference. But that's it. You have to introduce your evidence, the evidence that you have to show. So step 3, okay, so just introduce your evidence. Don't show your evidence yet. This is just an introduction, right? All right, introduce your evidence. So here, you don't need to use a transitional word if you don't want, but you need to start saying something that is going to introduce, again, the idea that you want to show, because you need to go to Google and you need to type, for example, in my case, I should look for characteristics that professors should have in online classes, right? And of course, I have to mention something that professionals mentioned, or that someone that is also a professional wrote in one of his articles or books, right? So that's what I have to state over here, but just introduction. So it's going to be, there are many professionals, right, working on this field. 2 professionals, right? This field separated. 2, okay, on this field to, okay, yes, to improve quality of teaching. Okay, period. So there are many professionals working on this field to improve the quality of teaching. One of those, right, is, and I'm going to make up a name, all right? Dr. someone who stated the following. Okay, so one of those. So look at what I did here in 2 ideas, and here, of course, I have to introduce with period. Okay, that's a step. Again, you don't show the step, you only introduce the following step that is going to be the evidence. Here is only the introduction. Okay, so there are many professionals working on this field to improve the quality of teaching. And what field I'm talking about? Technology and education, online classes, right? Because I already mentioned that. I don't have to mention that again. So I'm saying that in order to introduce one person that is part of that group of professionals who stated something that of course is going to be important and is going to be believable and is going to be plausible and it's going to support my idea, right? So that's what you have to do. That's introduction. Okay, again, and once again, introduction means just presenting something, but that's just the beginning. That's why that's the end of step number 3. All right, that's the end of step number 3 here. Step 4. Now you are going to introduce your evidence. It means like inserting your evidence. It was already introduced, now show your evidence. Okay, so insert, drop in your supporting evidence. In this case, it's going to be in quotes, okay? It can be from experiences, facts, and something that you know. But here, please, okay, remember, you have to show me some information, a citation from something that you found on the internet. Okay, it doesn't have to be something that is verified. You know that there are many articles that are not verified or written by professionals, but if you find something on the internet and you can copy and paste it here and show me the source, that's more than enough. Okay, so once again here you have the actually I didn't use color, right? I use the colon. So now I am going to start with the quotation marks. Okay, I'm just going to do everything that you're supposed to do, please. So that's the other one. Okay, that's the introduction of the evidence. Now here I show the evidence, and you know what do I do is we using quotation marks. Okay, now I'm not going to go there to do some research to do it, because if not, I'm not going to be able to finish it. But here, what you have to do is go to Google, find something interesting, copy and paste. And remember, it shouldn't be more than 3 lines. Okay, that's the top. If it's less, better. If it's 3, it's okay. All right, so imagine something that they could say. All right, the most important qualities, okay, important qualities for any educator to have are, and there you go. Okay, and you continue, and that's part of the quotation, right, of the citation that you are working on. So I'm going to write it there, because if not, it's going to be an open quotation. Remember that all the punctuation marks are inside the quotations. And here, as you must know, you're going to show that, right? After someone, okay, and the year. That's going to be 2019, let's say 3. Okay, and that's it. That's step number 4. You have to look for some information that supports the idea that you are developing, right? By doing that, you are done with step number 4. That is, show your evidence. Okay, it says insert, but I believe here is better to say show your evidence. Okay, so far we got it, and we are great. Now, let's go to step 5, and here I'm going to work with one more, because we have one more, because I work on the optional one, right? Remember that you only need 5 because of the optional step, that is step number 2. But I'm working with the optional as well, so that's why I need 1 extra. So step 5, this is interesting, and remember you have to do this with with your 2 body paragraphs. So here is explain your evidence. Okay, in other words, I'm going to say paraphrase or explain your evidence. Okay, so if you want to show your reader that you really understand what that professional is saying and you know why you are showing that quotation, that citation, you need to paraphrase that. And here you can use one more time, in other words, or you can simply say something different. Okay, what doctor someone tries to tell us here is that, and you continue with the rest of the idea. Okay, that, and I'm going to try to make something up so that you can see how you can paraphrase. Okay, so what doctor someone tells us, not tries to tell us, that's going to be weird, right? So tells us here is that, first I'm going to again make up this information. Being empathetic, very, it's a, let's use a different adjective. Remember, we are not covering this yet, but you're going to have this starting Friday. Remember, try to use different words, synonyms. If you use important, right, in many of your, let's say, well, actually in your paragraphs, in any of those paragraphs, it's going to be incorrect. Instead of important, you should look for synonyms. All right, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to try to look for a different word. So what doctor someone tells us here is that being empathetic, it's, okay, yes, it's a main trait that educators should have, along with being another characteristic. What could it be? Polite. And I'm talking about, right, actually working with technology. So again, that's why I'm trying to look for something obvious, okay? For along with and knowing, right, very well, knowing how to use, oh no, I already used main, all the right, the updated platforms. Okay, all the updated educational platforms, and knowing, yes, one more time. Okay, I'm going to repeat that one in this case. Now let's look for a different word. All right, I want to say an approaching best way and technical problems show up. Okay, good. So there you go. That's something I made up because I don't have the real information, but that's something that you should do. And once again, you can reduce the, now it's just because if it's in a chart, you put it down below, we're going to see how long it is going to be. That's why you need to decide if you're going to have all those steps or you're going to omit step number 2, but all the other steps are obligatory. And remember that if you feel that it's too long and you need to decide to eliminate some of those words or eliminate some of those ideas and leave it just with one sentence, also that's up to you. Okay, but again, I'm showing you this because this is the process that you have to follow. This is what you have to do. So what, this is like one thing that you can say in this part. But remember once again that you have a list of words that you can say there. And I'm going to show you those words once again. Okay, and those are transitional words and phrases, right? So remember that I'm talking about over here. Yes, here. So you can say in other words, but I already used it. That's why I didn't want to repeat the same. To put it another way, what this means is that with no comma, right? Then my example is also with no comma. This means that. Or one option is what I did here, right? And you can say this. What this person tells us is that, or any idea that you want. Okay, so those are the transitional words that you can use here. Clarify, identify. Okay, I'm going to leave it here because we're going to be using that more. So let me read everything to see how it is going. Actually, not everything yet, just this paragraph. Then we're going to read the entire paragraph. What Dr. Someone tells us here is that being empathetic is a main trait that educators should have, along with knowing how to use all the updated educational programs and approaching in the best way when technical problems show up. All right? Now, again, let's use a different color over here, and we continue working. Okay, good. Now, here they have a correction. No, just I don't know why they show that in that way. Yeah, no, it's weird. Okay, step number 6. So step number 5 is done. You paraphrased your evidence, you explained your evidence using your own words. You don't have to repeat everything. Again, I'm supposing that they mentioned something like that, but you don't have to repeat everything. Just say it in a different way. Actually, say it in the way that you can demonstrate, as it says over there. Okay, let me read this. Explain what the quote means and why it is important to your argument. The author should agree with how you sum up the quotation. This will help you establish credibility. By demonstrating, right, this is what I was telling you, you have to demonstrate, but demonstrating that you do know what the author is saying, even if you don't agree, okay? So, again, show that you understand the evidence, paraphrase that. You can explain that in simpler words. The idea is, again, paraphrasing, explaining. So that was number 5, and this is the last step, step number 6. All right, so in step number 6, you only finish your body paragraph. And you're going to have the same step for the second and the third body paragraph, but in this case, you only need 2. Okay, but all the body paragraphs that you have should have this structure. So, conclude your body paragraph. Okay, BP is like body paragraph over there. Sorry, your. So, you don't have to use please here. This is the conclusion of your body paragraph, but this is not the conclusion of everything. Remember that you have these options. So my recommendation, don't use strong words like ultimately, finally, and to conclude as a final point, in conclusion, all right? Because it feels like you're finishing with something, but in the way in which you are not going to continue anymore. But here you're just finishing your body paragraph. So it's better to say, therefore, altogether, overall, briefly, or even here, given these points in summary to sum up. But here I want to show the consequence of talking about that and to justify why you are mentioning all those things and why that body paragraph is important to your thesis statement. Remember that everything goes around your thesis statement. So I'm going to use there. Okay, so I go therefore, and let's read. End your paragraph with a concluding sentence or sentences that reasserts how your paragraph contributes to the development of the argument as a whole. Okay, so in other words, one more time, you have to say, and this is why this paragraph helps understanding what? This. It says, it is vital to train teachers and professors in charge of these online classes to obtain better results. So Knowing about the characteristics that they should have is going to, of course, right, make us train teachers in a better way. And the result of that is to have better results in class. Okay, so again, that's what I have to say, but I have to say that briefly. All right, therefore, by knowing or by being aware, let's use another one. By being aware of the six professors, sorry, by being aware, okay, yes, it is good. Should have, we can assure that classes will get better. Okay, and here I'm missing one S, sorry. There you go. Okay, so that's my conclusion. Okay, by being aware of the characteristics professors should have, we can assure that classes will indeed get better. Or you can say improve or enhance. Improve is good. But I'm repeating again, that's why I'm saying get better in this case. So that is it. Again, I'm going to use a different color. And there you go. Okay, so this is what you have to do 2 times. Okay, 2 times. You need 2 body parts, but you need to follow that. So you already have your introduction. So here you are going to continue. Again, this is what you should have as a result. And everything has to be together, right? Goes over there. Yes, I'm going to do like this because if not, there are going to be some changes, right? Yes, it must be, I don't see it. Yes. Okay, good. So with that, again, do that 2 times and you're good to continue and work on the conclusion. Okay, there you go. So that's your first body part. Again, you're going to decide if you're going to have this second step. Sorry, this is the second step or not. So you look at that. If you see you have a lot of words and you are surpassing the number of words that you need, just delete that one and you're good to go. Okay, but if you have the ability, continue and keep working with that. So okay, here that. Okay, what doctor tells us here is that being, yes, it is correct. Good. So again, do that 2 times, please. In the second time, again, you're going to change this part to second or afterwards or next to that or after that. You have to use what? Again, transitional words that you learned with me. And you know that for continuation, you can say afterwards, eventually, next, after this, after that, or you can say secondly, or in the second place, right? So you have options to continue working on the second paragraph. So there you go. Now, in this time that we have left, we are going to work on the conclusion. That's the last step. And we are again done with this. So a couple more. You know that the conclusion, if you remember, has 3 steps. Okay, so merge cells. This is the conclusion. Sorry. So the conclusion, again, we have 3 steps, and let's take a look at them. But once again, I cannot ask if you have any questions. Try to, that's not actually the one. This is the one. If you have questions, it's important, again, that you can let me know. Right now, it's not possible. You still have time because on Friday we're going to see each other, and you still have to write the essay for next week. Okay, so please be sure that you have everything ready and you are finishing your essay. Remember, it's going to be for Monday. Okay, everything is going to be for Monday. But also remember that until tomorrow, you have to present 90 words plus the examples, the definition, and the examples also that we are writing here. If you're not here, you have to write this. Okay, this is what you have to write, and this is what it needs to look like. This is the introduction, this is the first body paragraph, only one in this case because this is practicing, and then the conclusion. So let's work on the conclusion now to finish today's class. Okay, let me take a look at this. And conclusion. So once again, it has 3 steps. If you remember, I already mentioned these steps. First is going back to the thesis statement, and you have to say that thesis statement in a different way, but actually it needs to be linked to that in this way. Keep your conclusion focused by linking back to the question, title, or statement, right? Thesis statement in this case. This can be achieved by using keywords from the essay, question, or thesis. So if my thesis is, it's crucial to compare the blended learning methods to the traditional one to identify their strengths and weaknesses, then in the conclusion, I'm going to say, finally, we could see, like in past, okay, something that we did. We could see, right, or we can see if you want, that it is or it was really important to make a comparison between the 2 important methods to get the best out of them. All right. So here I'm going, again, my conclusion, of course, I'm going to make this up because I don't have the 2 body paragraphs. I'm making up information. So I'm going to try to make something following that logic. So let's do it. Okay, and step number 1 again is, let's say, we're not going to say what it says. So it's like you have to prove, verify, or confirm that your thesis was correct. Okay, that's what you're going to do here. This is, so it's just one. This is, okay, that's what you're doing in other ways. So finally, or once again, you can use any of these transitional words, right? This is what I'm going to show you at the end. And where's it? Here. This, right? Ultimately, finally, altogether, overall, to conclude as a final point in conclusion. So you have all those options, alternatives to write here. Okay, I'm going to use the common one. Finally, right? We were able to see that training educators, okay, sorry, a very important task to do so that we can, let's say, so that we can, yes, create a better teaching and learning process. Okay, here is our, see the training educators is a very, yes, here, because I think he doesn't understand that. This is the whole idea, okay, that training educators, this is an activity, is a very important task to do, just one task, that's why is, to do so that we can create a better teaching and learning process. Okay, I'm again making up many things. on the run so that we can have this clear at least. Okay, and this needs to be with a different color. So let's have that over there. Good, so that is one. Okay, that is the first step. And that's the conclusion. Once again, what we're doing is, let me go there, going back to our thesis, restating that thesis, or saying, yes, look, this is what we did. Okay, confirm that your thesis was right, or support your thesis one more time, paraphrasing or saying that in a different way. Okay, so finally, we were able to see that training educators, right, it's a very important task to do so that we can create a better teaching learning process, or even you can call that environment. Okay, again, I'm just saying some options that we got over there so that you can also have some alternatives. Now, that's a step number one. Let's go to step number two, right? In step number two, we work on a summary. So all the main points, it means all your topic sentences. If you have two topic sentences, you just mention those two topic sentences. In my case, the first topic sentence is, it's essential to recognize all to develop. That's one. I don't have the other one, but I'm going to pretend that is something related to that. Okay, for example, in the disadvantages of having professors, teachers that are not trained with those qualities or skills. Okay, let's pretend that it's that. So summarize the topic sentence. It means the first sentences that you got at the beginning of each body paragraph. So here, you can or you cannot use a transitional word. It's up to you. If you feel that it goes well, do it. If not, it's not necessary. All right, so here, and yes, so finally, and I'm going to use now, again, that's up to you. I'm analyzing what I can do in my case. I'm going to say briefly, okay, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say briefly what we were able to cover. Or even you have this other option that is not there, I'm going to use it, okay, to round up. Like, again, to close up something. We are giving the conclusion. This is the first part of the conclusion. This is the second part to round up, to close this up. So to round up, we got to see traits that these professionals must have must have, and the disadvantages of not developing this set of skills. Okay, good. And that's it. All right, that's my summary. And you're going to see, give me that a second, please. Let's use a different color. Once again, I don't remember what colors we use. It doesn't matter if you repeat some of those colors, all right? It's not important. And here it is. Okay, so I'm just summarizing the two topic sentences. First, we got to see the traits that these professionals must have, the first topic sentence, and the second one that I didn't write, but again, I'm going to pretend that I got that paragraph, and the disadvantages of not developing this set of skills. That's it, okay? That's my summary. That's what we did in the body paragraph, all right? Or in the body paragraphs in your case. And finally, All right, we only have one more. We're going to be finishing with this one. I'm going to show you some last details and we'll finish the class with that. And it's step number 3. That is a reflection. Okay, this is something interesting. Okay, step number 3. And here we have reflection. So to reflect, right, is to say, now that we have achieved this, or now that we have done this, what else could we do? But let's read this, okay? It says, your conclusion should leave a reader, right, thinking, or the reader in this case, sorry, thinking about the significance of the whole topic. It means technology and education in my case, and your topic and thesis statement in your case. Therefore, it is a good idea to include a final thought or reflection, perhaps one that looks forward or outwards the thesis statement. It means what else can be said about education and technology, or what goes after that or beyond that. Okay, knowing all the advantages of both methods, it will be a good idea to ask ourselves if a mixed methods could be the answer to all the problems that we identified throughout the essay. Okay, so what about now? Now that we work on those details, what else can we do? Or what else should be done? All right? Then let's work on something here. Okay, so let's read first. It says, finally, we were able to see that training educators is a very important task to do so that we can create a better teaching and learning process or environment. To round out, we got to see the traits that these professionals must have and the disadvantages of not developing this set of skills. All right. And the reflection could be what? Now, all right, it is, I said already essential. The first part, I said important or vital. You know, I'm not trying, I said vital. Okay, so what else could I say over there? Okay, let's use this one. Okay, it's mandatory to work on a proposal to okay, for all the schools and colleges. Okay, so again, this is further, right? This is beyond. This is what we did. So now that we have this information, we need to look for a way to propose this to the institutions and places that teach, right? So that this can be applied and this can have, we can see the real benefits, right? So again, you're playing with words, we are imagining, fantasizing, but it's part of working on an essay. So now it is mandatory to work, right? Now it will be mandatory. No, it is, let's say that in present, to work on a proposal for all the institutions, schools, and colleges. So they can apply this knowledge and train their personnel. Okay, good. Okay, and one more time, it's not going to be, and it's not the best conclusion, there's not the best reflection, but I'm just trying to show, right, what you have to do, and you're going to do it better with the time and with everything that you can use, all right, to work on this final essay. And that's it. Okay, that's my conclusion. Again, it can be better structured, it can be better connected, you can have better ideas, but that's just something that came to my mind as I was writing these examples for you. so that you can see what I'm doing and you can imitate that, or you can again um, follow at least those ideas and these steps, and it's going to be easier for you, this step by step. Okay, so with that, we are done. And I'm just going to read everything to see if it makes sense. Again, remember that this is just me showing you some examples. When you read, you're going to see that there are some things that can change and have to change. Perhaps the thesis statement has to be different, right? So this is what you have to do. Write it. Here it's incomplete because we need 2 body paragraphs, right, in your final essay. But this is again just the example. So let's read. It says, technology has allowed us to spread education throughout the globe in less than face-to-face education could. Due to the pandemic, online classes have become more and more common around the world, making it clear that it is just as good as face-to-face classes. Therefore, here I'm using therefore down below, so I can use just thus, right? Thus, it is vital to train teachers and professors in charge of these online classes to obtain better results. First, it is essential to recognize all the skills that have to be developed to enhance the experience for students in online classes. In other words, we should be able to spot the qualities that they are to have. Remember, when you are to something, it means obligation, all right? That they are to have, that they have to have, that they must have, in other words, in order to organize or structure a better training session. There are many professionals working on this field to improve the quality of teaching. One of those is Dr. You said the name right, who stated the most important qualities for any educator to have are blah blah blah. You call that right, Dr. Someone, comma, on the year 2019. What Dr. Someone tells us here is that being empathetic is a main trait that educators should have, along with knowing how to use all the updated educational platforms and approaching in the best way when technical problems show up. Therefore, by being aware of the characteristics professors should have, we can assure that classes will indeed get better or will improve. Finally, right, let's suppose we have a second body paragraph. That's what you need at least. Remember, the minimum advisable is 3, but because of the number of words and it can be complicated, it's only going to be 2. Okay, so let's pretend we have a second one and we go to the conclusion. And finally, we were able to see, right, that training educators is a very important task to do so that we can create a better teaching learning process or environment. To round up, right, we're here again. If you feel that it's forced, I feel that it's forced, don't use it. Okay, in my case, I believe that it's forced. So I'm not going to use the round up. I'm going to say we got better. Period. We got to see that the traits that these professionals must have and the disadvantages of not developing this set of skills. Now, it is mandatory to work on a proposal for all institutions, schools, and colleges so that they can apply this knowledge and train their personnel. Okay, and there you go. It feels kind of good. Some parts are forced because we don't have the entire essay. If I think this better, perhaps I'm going to change my thesis statement. There are many things that I would change, okay? Many things. But again, this is just to show the example. If it was, okay, yes, if it were my decision in this case, and I had to present this essay, I would revise this many times, and I would change many things. I would look for repeated words because now I didn't even pay attention to this because now my only purpose is to show the structure. When I get to show you the last unit, that is not repetition, that is no negative sentences, we are going to check this again so that we can improve that. Okay, but now the only purpose is to show you the structure. But once again, you have to do this little by little. You have to revise your essays once again. And you need to show me, right, that you worked on that, not just at the last time, but you were able to check those little details because they are little, but they show me that you were able to check everything. Okay, so this is here. This is what you should have now for tomorrow as part of your examples. Okay, it's like you have, and again, it's like pretend that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pretend that you have 12 separate examples, but you have them in paragraphs to practice. But that's it, okay? You should have that, and this is what I told you I was going to show you. This is the template. This is what you should have as your final essay. It's what we did. The first part, introduction, 3 parts, right? The hook, a hook, an interesting, catchy sentence that produces curiosity, 1 or 2 sentences. Then to add up, additionally, in addition, background, okay? You give some context, 1 or 2 sentences. Thus, therefore, as a result, accordingly, thesis statement, right? This is the main idea that you have related to your topic, something that you think that can be supported by ideas. Then the first body paragraph, first of all, to start with, to commence topic sentence, right? 1 sentence. What is this body paragraph going to be about related to your thesis statement? Optional, write extra information. Then introduction of your evidence. According to this person, according to this institution, according to this article, then the next step, you copy and paste with quotation marks the evidence, real information that was copied from the source, the last name and the year in parentheses, then paraphrase, right? This means that, in other words, the author tries to tell us that you say that in your own words. And then, therefore, thus, all in all, right, the conclusion of your body paragraph. It's exactly the same in body paragraph number 2, but you have secondly, afterwards, next, right? And everything else is the same. And then the conclusion, right? To finish, to conclude, restate or reinforce your thesis statement. Okay, that's the purpose of number 1. You can restate it as well. Moreover, plus you give the summary, or again, if you don't feel like using this, you don't have to do it, but be sure that you're using at least 6 transitional words in all your essay, right? That's important. And after you give the summary of your topic sentences, you give a reflection to wrap up as a final point. You can do that, right? If you didn't use that here, you can use that here to wrap up as a final point, and you write your reflection or a thought on your essay, right? What other essays can be written by following this one? What research could be done related to these results? What is next, right? In my case, I said, what is next? To prepare a proposal, to prepare a document so that you can show that to schools and institutions to apply this knowledge. Okay, so this is a template I made, and this is what your essay should look like. It should look like this. You should show me what the introduction is with 3 different colors, the body paragraph with 6 colors, but 1 is optional, so minimum 5 colors. The second body paragraph, the same, minimum 5, and the conclusion, 3 different colors, right? And everything has a purpose. Okay, this is what why I told you that it's important that you can use this structure, but it's not because it's step by step. Right, you're not going to write everything that comes there in the order that you want. Sometimes it's good, but this is argumentative and academic essay, so it has to be done in this way. All right, so I used more time than I had to, but I believe that I started a little bit late, so I think we're good. And that's it then. Okay, I'm going to be waiting for, first, remember, for tomorrow, only this is due tomorrow. These are the examples that you should write. You have already the introduction plus the first step in the body paragraph. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You need those steps. Try to make it simple, all right? And that's going to be part of your evaluation for the in-class activities. That's it on my side, okay? Please remember, on Friday, we're going to start with the next and the last unit for this course. And that's going to be Friday and Monday. And on Monday is the last day of classes for A13. You have to present and hand in your essay, your final essay, plus your 9 last words, plus their definitions and their examples, and the examples that we're going to write on Friday and that day, Monday. I check everything on Tuesday. I send the final scores, and you start A14, that is the last course with me, on Wednesday next week. Okay, so I hope you enjoy these days. Please work on your essay. It's very important that you work on it. As you can see, it's not hard. I did it now, as I was explaining, but you have to check that. You have to revise to make it better, to make the connections look better, to make everything smoother. Because here in my examples, I feel that some things are forced because they are forced, all right? Because I'm not thinking straight on this specific topic. I don't have the resources. I don't have the things that I should need to work on this essay in a better way. But again, if you have the time, revise that, look for synonyms, look for better words, look for better ways to connect your ideas. But again, this is the skeleton, and over this skeleton, you have to connect everything in a better way. All right, so that's it again. Thanks, girls, for watching this class. I'll see you on Friday. Please don't forget again to work on these details. Bye-bye.